All right. Clap one on three. One, two, three. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of True Crime and Cocktails. We're so glad that you're here. As always, I am your host, Lauren Ash, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hostess with the most S, Christy Oxborrow. How you feeling?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic.
Jazzed. I'm always jazzed to be here. The moment that I click that link and it opens up and your little face is there, I couldn't be more jazzed.
Highlight of my week.
Right? This is just
Every week.
this
Yes.
is this is why I mean, they're getting roughly 2 hours. This Zoom is like five,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
six.
It's a nice hang. It's a nice weekly hang. But listen, here's the thing. We
It
don't we
is.
live so far apart. I mean,
We
it,
do.
it would be it's if we lived in the same town, we'd be seeing each other at least 6 hours a week.
Oh, a day, probably.
I was
Like
gonna say, I mean,
multiple
I
days
didn't
a
want to
week. Yeah.
seem too thirsty, but yeah, I mean, I would think
Oh, yeah.
there'd be many, many hours. So I feel like
Yes.
this is just, yeah,
Oh, if we lived in the same town, there's not a chance we're not neighbors.
no,
Oh my God. I don't want to I don't want to give us dreams and then not make them something that could happen.
I'd like to hear them.
The two of us being neighbors,
I'm listening.
but the backyard, the fence
Hmm.
in between doesn't exist.
Yeah, shared backyard.
Yeah. So we're just like, here we go.
Perfect. We
Yeah.
that way we can go padding out, you know, in our slippers, padding
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
next door,
Yeah.
rapping on the back sliding door. That way we don't have to have the rest of the street see us. I mean, ideally there would be nobody else on the street.
Ideally, it's a street of two houses.
Ideally, it's two houses. Although there is a
Yeah.
true crime case. I don't know if you ever heard of this one, but people listening, I'm sure this is enough detail that other people will remember it. But it's called like the date line was called like the house at the end of the road or something. And it was a house where it
Sure.
was like the only house at the end of a long road. And it was a random murder, which is always
Mm.
when it's not a someone known to the victims, that always
Oh,
rattles me.
sure.
Um, so maybe we should be maybe two houses on our
Couple of
side,
neighbors. Couple of
couple on
neighbors.
the other. You know what I mean? Like across the
Hmm.
street,
Hmm. I
somewhere
mean,
to
we
somewhere to run.
we could also have like one on either side of us.
Yeah.
It's just the fences between those houses just a little higher
Yeah.
than like traditional.
I say we plant some of those bushes that grow vertical.
Oh, yeah.
I have those around my house in LA. Just
Oh,
keep them up, keep them
I
going.
like that. Because I mean, we're already in agreement. Somewhere it doesn't snow.
Yeah,
Because it's
ideally.
already like, I swear it was summer.
Mm.
Like just a whisper and a kiss ago. I don't even know what that means. A
Whisper
whisper.
and a kiss. God bless
Out
you.
of my mind. Um, the second school started, the day before was like 30 degrees, stunning. The next day, rainy, cold, like, and it's just been, we're getting almost to the point of freezing overnight. And I'm like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
Now, I used to just walk out the door. Now I'm like, well, now I have to check, do I need a coat?
Mm.
Or you go out in the morning, freezing, by afternoon, so hot.
Yeah, that's one of my least favorite times of year, to be honest with you.
Same.
When it's crisp all day, like when it's like a little chill in the air, but all day,
Sure.
not cold, but you know what I'm talking, like
Yeah,
October, late September, early October.
of
That I
course.
don't mind. It's this period of time where it's frigid in the morning,
Hmm.
you're sweating by noon, and then it's cold again by 6. I can't.
Oh, yeah, just pick one.
Pick one.
Pick
Pick a
one,
temperature. Grow up.
stick with it. Thank you very much.
Grow up,
Yeah,
Mama Nature, Mama Nat,
yeah.
Mama
Mama
Nate.
Nat. Mama Nate. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I also like that. I mean, we usually like I didn't want to use the word complain, but it is what it is. Everybody does it. Usually it's like lady issues that are the complaint
Hmm.
or specific products, whether we
Sure.
either don't like them or we can't buy them anymore or something like that. But I like that today we're like, let's stick it to the weather
Yeah. Yeah.
because let's be
We're not
honest.
happy with you, and we want you to know it, Mama Nate.
Yeah. And if she wants us to say some nice things about her, she's gonna have to pony up the dough. don't think Mother Nature is like paying people to say nice
I
things about her.
I guess she's not worried about PR, is what I'm assuming.
It's true.
She's like, I am what I am. I do what I do.
Yeah. And look,
But
I
isn't it
kind of respect
bullshit?
that.
Isn't it bullshit that that was Mother Nature? Like, I understand the idea of like Gaia and like, the goddess of fertility and the earth, and I like that connotation, but I
Sure.
don't like the idea that the person that we're having to blame this on is a woman. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
bullshit. I think she deserves better. I think she
Yeah.
probably has a hell of a job.
Oh, I can't imagine worldwide. Like, I mean, would
So
it be
many
so hard
temperatures,
to just,
so many climates at the same time.
right? But also, would it be so hard just make it nice everywhere all the time? But I also understand it can't be nice. Like, we need rain and we need snow in certain places. I get that. Um, but I agree. I don't like that it's a woman that feels like she's being thrown under the bus there. I have to assume, based on how frustrating it is, that time zones have to be male.
It's a system that doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
It's a system that doesn't make sense. I understand the concept.
Yeah.
I understand the concept because it's like, okay, the East Coast of North America versus the West Coast. I get it. The sun is
Yeah,
in a different place, different
of
time.
course. Yeah.
That makes sense to me. Why are they fucking us with the mountain time, the central time?
Hmm.
Why?
Oh, and don't even
Why?
get me started on when the time changes.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Well, it
leave it.
never changes for you.
That is true, but it fucks us because it changes for everybody else. And we're just like, well, everything's changing, just not in our town. Well, not in
Yeah.
the whole province, but still.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. I think the world should get on board. Have your time zones, but leave the time. You pick one and you stick with it.
Pick and stick.
Yeah, I personally would like to stay the time it is now
Hmm.
because in like approximately 30-ish days, when my beloved Philadelphia Flyers drop the puck for the beginning of the season, those games for me are going to be at like 5 o'clock,
Mm.
which means I get to watch the game early and there's still enough time for a movie, for like a chill movie in the evening. And so that's my evening set and I love it. But once the time changes, then we're looking at games starting at like 7, sometimes games starting at 9, depending on where they are. And I'm like, no, leave it. I want the early games. An afternoon game, bless. I love those, but I get it. And it's not even, I'm not Nana enough that I want an early game so I can go to bed. I just want to be able to not lose out on my nightly movie.
I think what I need to comment on is I think this may be the first time ever I've heard you just throw chill into a conversation.
Did
Like
I?
you said, just a nice chill movie. Chill movie. I just am like, I don't
Oh.
think I've ever heard you use the word chill.
And I was worried I was going to come across as a Nana in this. And it turns
No,
out super hip. And now I've wrecked it. Now I've wrecked it.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. I think you're still on the
Mm,
up. I think you're still on the up and
yeah.
up.
It's
Oh
just
my God.
there's something I love a movie and it's just like that's how you wind down in the chunk of time between like kids are kind of going to bed and you're kind of just done for the day and you do a movie and then you go to bed and then you read for probably way too long and then you fall asleep.
Right,
Done. And
right.
now we're in like spooky season movies. So I've only got so many movies and so much time. So I've also decided, and I'm not even lying of how excited I am about this idea. I've decided on a random Saturday in October. I chose Saturday because I don't want to have to leave the house to drive a child to or from school. I want it where I can just not go anywhere if I don't want to. I'm going to watch all the Scream movies back to back.
I assumed.
Couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jazzed. I was like, how much time we talking? Approximately 12 hours. And I was like, not a problem. Not a problem. And I was like, I just need the appropriate snacks. So you need like a lighter snack, like a Pringle, a little gummy, so, like you need just like a light sort of thing that you can just like pick at. But then you need a heavier, like, are we gonna have a nacho? Are we gonna, have some sort of a pie? Are we gonna an apple crisp? Something. And then you need like a meal. So you
Mm.
need to like spread those throughout the right time throughout the 12 hours, apparently.
I
And I
like
couldn't wait.
that your snack list involves such light items as an apple crisp or a pie.
I,
This is
I
incredible.
I have been known to have movie pie.
Movie pie.
Yeah, I
That's a
love a
beautiful
pie.
thing.
I love a pie. I love cheeseburgers. Like I'm kind of Dean Winchester,
Yeah.
where yeah, I could live on those alone for life. And I just, because to me, is popcorn a nice movie snack? Of course. Open the horizons. You don't have to stick with the basic huge. The huge.
The basic use.
Yeah, I've lost it.
I think that what I'm hearing from I'm gonna be honest, I'm sensing a bit of a swagger from you tonight. Like I feel like
Hmm.
there's a little like spring in your step. There's a little
Sure.
like, you know,
Is it
chill in your movie.
is it because I came up with, I'm sure so many people have done it, that I decided I'm going to do this Scream movie marathon and I'm elated?
Oh, I'm sure that's part of it.
It's got to be. The problem is now I'm like, oh, why isn't it then now? Like look at I need to look at hockey schedules, make sure I'm not planning it for a day of a day game. I just have to, or an evening game, heaven forbid. Like I need to plan it out properly. But I also don't want it too soon because Scream are one of my favorite right before Halloween movies.
Mm,
So I have to time it nicely. And honestly, if Halloween was on a Saturday, I would just choose Halloween.
not wrong.
But it is a Friday this year. And I know some people are probably like, then just do it the next day. It's close enough. No, at midnight on Halloween, my brain switches, and you can hear the switch in my brain go from like squeaking bats and eerie sounding like wind to jingle bells and
I
snow
assumed
falling
sleigh
down.
bells. I was gonna
Yeah.
say sleigh bells.
Yeah. My brain, there's just something about it because as soon as I get up, November 1st, every year, my brain is like, well, I guess we're on holiday mode. Now I just want hot chocolate and, Elf or something.
Hmm.
And that's just I can't help it.
Yeah.
But look, I started the spooky movies a month early this year. So we started them beginning of September to try and get through them all. And if I'm cranking out six in one day on the Scream Day, I'll come up with a better name for it. Um, then I mean that I think I'll be sitting pretty. I I I don't even know who I am.
I just love it. There's just so many colloquialisms I've just never heard you use before, like sitting pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't tend to use that, but apparently here's the thing. Nobody cares. Too late. You're already here and it's against your will. Um I never really loved spooky movies. I've
Hmm.
loved Scream since the moment it came out. But I was always like, no thanks, not interested. But in the last few years, I've really gotten into like the horror comedy. For the only second time in my life, just recently, I watched Shaun of the Dead.
It's a good flick.
It is so,
Flick. Who am
I
I?
like this a lot. The thing I love about Shaun of the Dead, and I don't know if they intentionally meant to do it, I like to look at it as like the complete obliviousness of men.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
watching them just not see what's right in front of them, I was like, that's so funny to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I watched it last year for the first time and I was like, put it on the list. Like it's going on the spooky list. I have
So
like
you'll do
60
a horror
movies.
comedy,
That is
but
preferred.
I'm assuming you're not interested in like a Saw film.
Oh no. The Saw films are not to be played in the home.
Mm,
when I'm available to possibly walk in the room. He will watch it. I'm not into like the gory ones.
hmm.
I have like I've we've done a few just like a horror type, but I like my horror with a comedy. I
And I
do.
like
Like,
my coffee crisp.
hey, beautiful. Beautiful. Like, have you seen Heart Eyes?
I don't think so.
It's a newer one. Like, I guess I don't know if it's supposed to be like Valentine Day themed or not, but it's a horror comedy. I'm like, I thought it was great. Watched it
Okay.
earlier this year for the first time, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch it again during spooky season. Happy Death Day. Horror comedy. Can't get enough.
Where are you on the Final Destination films?
Um, I Here's the thing. I mean, Devon Sawa, if you hear me, I've always loved your work. The moment you ask, can I keep you? Anyway, that's Casper, not the point. Also, a movie I watched during spooky season. I've gotten distracted now that I've said Devon Sawa. But anyway, the first Final Destination, yeah, I'm on board. Did it completely derail any potential hope I had at being a good flyer? Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it did. Um, there are so many of those now of the Final Destination. And as they kept going, I was like, oh yeah. The first one, I'm like, solid. That is on my list. My husband and our middle son, who has out of nowhere decided he might like a spooky movie, because he's been begging us to watch the Saw movies for the last like 2 years, and we've been holding off because we
Yeah.
go, not interested. Um, but him and my husband watched all the Final Destinations earlier this year, and he loved
Oh,
them. He was like, great. And I don't have anything against them. I'm just like, I mean, the first one, iconic, and I'll rewatch it this spooky season. The second one does have that iconic log truck
yes.
scene, so that we all remember. Um, but yeah, I have no problem with it, even though it's not like in the comedy realm. It's not too gory that I'm like it's horrifying.
Right.
Or too jump scary, like that Ben Feldman scary one, the As Above, So Below.
I loved that movie. I
I've
saw it
s-
before I even knew him. I saw it in the theater.
I've seen it once and I'm good. I
To be
I didn't
honest,
handle it well.
I haven't revisited it, but I
Mm,
remember liking it.
sure.
Yeah.
It's not my style. It
Yeah.
was it scared me in a way that I don't know. It I just kept waiting for things, and it screwed my brain up so hard. And I'm purposely not trying to say Ben's name again because I might get distracted like I did with Devon Sawa.
You come about it honestly.
I do. I do. Yeah.
Well, listen, spooky season's bringing something else this year. It's the Lauren Ash Call Me When You Get This tour. Now,
Hey,
listen, 10 dates, Ontario and Quebec, Canada. Let's get these
beautiful.
tickets sold. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Let's go. Band. All dates are available there. And there is very limited VIP tickets. I feel like I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the show yet or not, but guess what? I'm going to mention it probably this weekend, next week. So buckle in. You get a signed CD, you get a VIP lanyard, you get a little backpack, which just arrived and they're adorable.
Of course
And you
they
get a
are.
photo with me. So it's going to be a
Beautiful.
time. I'm very excited, very excited, hitting the road for the first time and would love to see anybody there. There's some
Of
people that have
course.
reached out to me. Now get this,
Yeah.
live in Labrador,
Wow. Okay.
driving 13 hours to Quebec City
Beautiful.
to see me live. How about that?
I love that.
Right?
I mean, if no, I was gonna say if they want something to listen to in the car, just don't watch because it might not be good for driving, but just listen to all the Scream movies. You'd get through them all in 13 hours.
I thought you were going to suggest they listen to our show, but I like that you're being the PR person for the Scream franchise. And guess what? They can
Oh,
use it. They're
as
never going to say
though
no.
as though they need my help in any way.
No,
No.
listen. It's iconic. It's iconic. But yeah, I'm very excited. Um, very, very excited. And I just want to,
Yes.
I want this thing to go well so that we can, because people keep asking, why aren't you coming to the west coast of Canada? Why aren't you coming to the east coast of
Sure.
Canada? Why aren't you coming to the UK? And I'm like, well, I have to do a van tour before I can do a plane tour. And I have to do the
Right.
ideally the van tour sells out. It'll make it a lot easier to come other places. So help
Yeah.
me, help you, help me,
You got to
help you.
walk before you can run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm so excited. We're recording this. The album has like just dropped in certain places in the world. So it's been out
Mm.
in Australia and it's out in like the UK, and someone messaged me they were listening in Italy.
Hey,
Yeah, right now. So as we're recording this, there are people in the world consuming Call Me When You Get This. So far,
love
the
that.
feedback I've been getting on TikTok, the fan fave, Walk Away.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
You
I'm
see, it's always interesting because
fascinated.
you choose what you think is the
Of
single or the song that you
course.
think will resonate the most. But yeah, so far,
Huh. I'm curious to see if different locations are going to have different favorites, like
I
different
agree.
areas of the world.
I know. Yeah. I mean, the good
Well,
news is that you can spend an entire, I mean, you could spend the same length of time you'd spend watching all of the Scream films, just
mhm.
diving into the analytics in the Spotify interface. There's every piece of information you could ever want in there.
Fascinating.
Sometimes to a point that it feels overwhelming. But and then what they do periodically is it breaks down. And then I go, don't make me dependent on the analytics and then have them break down.
Yep.
During the pre-save portion of this, there was
Hmm.
4 days it didn't update. 4.
Oh, that's hell.
I was crawling at the walls. Ended
Yeah.
up contacting the company, being like, "What's happening, guys?"
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
that lady.
Well,
It's
no,
fixed now, but
you
again,
be that lady. It's just
look,
it would take so much for me to be like, I'm gonna contact somebody about that.
it was a live chat situation. I'm not getting on a phone.
No, I assumed I assumed we don't use phones for telephone purposes.
No.
Gross.
I will also say this. I mean, I've always felt that way. Like long before the internet, I never wanted to have to do anything on the phone. I feel
Sure.
awkward and all of the above. But I do think now, because there was something today and I had a choice between I could call this person or I could email. And I was like, I
Hmm.
think I'm going to email because I can lay it all out.
Sure.
Because there's this part of my own anxiety, which I know is funny because I'm an improviser and an actor and all of these things, but I have this anxiety and this terrible habit of if there's something that I have to like communicate very succinctly and well, I can
Sure.
sometimes like stumble and get lost and like meander and it's like and then I just
Sure.
start like having my inner voice going like you're derailing, you're derailing, you're derailing. You know what I mean? And so I was like I think it's better.
Hmm.
And let me tell you something. I sent this email. I got a response within an hour. Now, the issue has not
Hey,
been resolved, but I do feel like it was like very clearly laid out. So then it's like, oh, I'll forward this to the person who
of
needs to get back to
course.
you. What a concept.
I think that's great. I
I'm
mean, not
basically just trying to justify not picking up the phone.
sure. I was also going to say doing email over doing like a live chat, you get a written record.
Yeah.
You can double check everything that was said, whereas a live chat is going to go away.
Yeah. Well, and there wasn't a live chat option today. It was phone or email. So I did choose email.
I mean, phone, I've had one too many where I've had to call somewhere and their phone is like super quiet, so I can't quite hear
Mm-hmm.
them. And then I mean, you saw me when I mentioned Devon Sawa. I'm easily distracted, and then like things happening around in my home, and I'm just like, I need quiet and I need peace and I need to like focus. And it's like, but I can also be watching a movie, a chill movie, if you will, while
Yep.
I'm typing an email.
Absolutely.
So it's just different. I will say I did struggle like this week while I was doing notes. I was like, I had like everything planned out of when I was working on certain things. And I was like, okay, Tuesday, I'm going to go hard on those notes. I'm gonna drop kid off at school. I'm gonna come home. I'm just gonna go so hard at notes. I'm not gonna know what else is anything other than notes that day. That's all I'm gonna do. And then I had a child stay home ill.
Oh,
And I was like, it happens every time when my brain is like, this is my plan for tomorrow, and then a child is sick. And so I was like, well, they're all old enough that anybody that's sick, it's not terrible, but I'm still like, oh, let me refresh your drink, make sure you're hydrated, let me make sure you're on medications, let's do all of these things, get you snacks, whatever. For whatever reason, I was like, you have the TV to yourself. Pick whatever you want. I'm just going to be sitting here doing notes, even though I'm in the same room. So I'm like, I'd rather not have anything on because I really want to focus, but I'll let it go. He chose Gravity Falls, which is a little Disney program that I love. And I was like, he hasn't seen it in a while. And I was like, here we go. He went through probably 21 episodes back to back all day. And bless him, but my God, it was like Devon Sawa in my home. Like my eyes kept looking the other way, and I was like, this is the one where they introduce Waddles? And then like I had to go somewhere and I came back and I found myself like running into the room and I was like, have they done the May May and the hug? And he was like, not yet. And I was like, oh, it's my favorite bit. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, now I'm fully invested in what's happening.
right.
Is Wendy ever gonna like Dipper? Not in that way, bud, but it's okay, you're friends. Like there's just too many things that my brain is like, I can't. And then the theme song for the show is the song that I have my ringtone on my phone and have had for years. But now that I've used it as my ringtone enough, hearing that song puts me in fight or flight.
Right.
So then my whole body is like, I don't like this. So I had that 20 times where it would start and he'd hit the button to like skip through it, but it was still enough.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't right. So that was a real distraction.
Now, is this
Great.
an animated show?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason Ritter voices one of the characters. I mean, so does Kristen Schaal. There's,
Wonderful.
I mean, it's lovely. I could get into it further, but the point is,
Yes.
it's from a few years ago. I think they only did 2 seasons, but it's just weird enough. And I'm gonna say it. It's beautifully spooky season. Like it just
Mm,
there's something about it that's like because there's like paranormal and weird creatures that come in, and then there's a full episode because the whole thing takes place over a summer, and one episode is called Summerween, where they have Halloween in summer. And I was like, this is yep. So it's the right time of year to binge it, is my point.
right.
And I'm not shaming him for it. I'm just like, I should have once he started it and I started going like, when is Waddles coming in? Because Waddles the pig is one of my favorite characters of all time. Doesn't speak, just is who he is, and I love him. Um, I should have known the second I started asking about it and asking questions about the show. Pick up your stuff, move to a different spot, like move to the dining room or something so you can't see it as much because I was on that couch trying to do notes and my eyes were like, well, just check out what they're doing for a
You
minute.
know, it's interesting because when I have to focus, I can have the TV on
Mm.
easier than music. If there's music playing, good luck. Goodbye. I'm in the song. I'm in a
Oh,
song.
yeah.
I'm singing along. If I
Yep.
put a show on, like especially like a Dateline or something that's in that kind of like tone, no
Yeah.
problem. It can be on, it can be going. In fact,
Huh.
I turn on something often to work. It's like white
Hey.
noise to me. But yeah,
Oh,
music,
sure.
good luck. Get
Oh,
out.
yeah.
There's no
I
point.
I
I would
can't.
be, yeah, singing along and
Yeah. Oh, I'm way too distracted. The music definitely gets into my brain more. So if I'm trying to like write notes, I'm like, I can't.
yeah,
I'm gonna start typing words that are the actual lyrics that have nothing to do with this, and it's gonna get stressful. But the movie, anything on TV, and I'm just like, my eyes can't stop. And I'm like, Christy, you've seen this so many times. You know what
Awesome.
happens.
Well, what I love also is that we've had so much conversation about the inner workings of the show. How's the child? Is he better? Is he okay?
Oh, yeah. It was just one of those like, usually by mid-September, somebody goes down because they've spent
Right.
2 months away from school and how many germs come in and like being stuck in a small space with so many kids and sharing things and all this shit. Usually it takes them a couple of weeks and at least one goes down. It wasn't the one I thought because my youngest tends to get sick every like mid-September and then he'll be fine for a while and then he gets sick again inevitably. But this was the middle one, which is like never stays home.
I was gonna say that's wild.
Yeah, this was the kid that when he was younger, like I'm talking like, oh God, I want to say maybe like kindergarten-ish. He was, he didn't seem like he was feeling well. Like mine, the tell is glassy eye. If their eyes are glassy, I'm like, something's not right. And so I was like, are you doing okay, bud? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, you wanna, like, maybe we stay home? And he was like, no. He did not want to miss school. That was never happening. And I was like, okay. And he went and they called me like 2 hours later and they were like, he is absolutely unwell. And I was like, I will come get him. I should never have sent him to begin with. So I was like, okay. And I picked him up and I was like, how you doing, bud? And he was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I went, okay. And we get into the, I pull into the garage. He gets out of the car. He takes 2 steps and he threw up all over the garage. And I went, thank you for waiting for that because I would rather hose down my garage floor than get the cleaners and clean out the inside of my car. So thank
Listen,
you so much for that.
you and I both
Yeah.
know I don't care what the product is. I don't care what kind of accoutrement or tool you've got to
Hmm.
scrub. One puke on that upholstery, you're smelling it for life.
Upholstery puke is not a thing I was anticipating.
Nope.
We're getting all kinds of words throughout this
I feel like if there was
episode.
there might have been a timeline shift and we're on the other side of it. And you know what? God bless. What you drinking over there?
Oh, I have a strawberry lemonade.
You know,
Yeah.
I have remnants of a water. I listen, here's the thing. I usually do 2 cans of Diet Coke a day, and don't come
Mhm.
for me if you think that's too much because I don't care. I don't
Let her have
care.
her Diet Cokies.
My diet, listen, but here's the thing, truth moment. Over the past little while, there I have been known to add a third on certain days, which I'm not proud of, but I might
Sure.
get one on the break.
Of course.
You know what it is? I haven't been drinking as much lately. No real reason, just haven't
Sure.
felt like it. And so if it's a night and I'm with, even if I'm not with people, but if I'm with people, if I go out or something and I just don't feel like drinking, it's like, well, then I'm going to order my other favorite drink. I'm going to have a Diet Coke.
Of course.
But I've already had my morning Diet Coke. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Look, I say whatever gets you jazzed to get out of bed.
Whatever you got to do.
Yeah,
Now, one last thing before we get into this. I need you to know I typically use a True Crime and Cocktails notebook to take my
sure.
notes throughout the episodes. I've done that for years now,
Yep.
longer than I haven't. So my notebook was getting full, and I was like, I should order another one. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if it's going to get to me in time. So I just bought a notebook.
Hmm.
Okay. That's fine. No
Oh,
big deal.
it is not plain. Let's not even joke and
Here's,
say that it is.
well, it's just purple. But listen, here's,
Wow. Okay, I thought this was going to be like some sort of animated cover or something.
well, no, I've made a misstep because I went for value instead of quality. And these pages are like tissues. And I like to use a gel pen, one of the
Oh.
Sharpie gel pens, and it's soaking through. I hate this already. I'm not going to be able to do
Oh.
two-sided.
Oh, I don't
And
like a
listen,
bleeder.
now I don't like a bleeder, unless it's a, person with a uterus. And it's that time of the month. I hate this because now I'm going to have to be committed to this because I'm not going to waste it. So I've got to commit to all these pages when I should have just ordered. And this is going to sound like I'm I'm sneaking an ad in for the merch store. I'm not trying to, but the paper in there is so thick in those notebooks. I've become spoiled. I've become accustomed to a certain level of paper.
Boy, you'll love this. If we're gonna try and shove in talks about our own merch store without like meaning to make it sound like an ad, because it's not. I am obsessed with like for a house pant. If I'm, I know, if I'm not going out, and then sometimes even if I am, but like if my plan is I'm home all day, I like the pajama pants we have. I have
Right.
a Boert and Scary pair, and I've got a pair that's the Peekaboo Desperado. I'm wearing the
Yes.
Peekaboo Desperado right now. Um, and it works out because the like I was doing laundry multiple times a week, so I was like, I'm living. I've got the pants whenever I want. I'm good to go. Well, I've kind of pulled back and now I'm only really doing laundry once a week. So when I open that drawer and there are no pants, I'm like, son of a bitch. So now I've been thinking lately I should order.
Just tell me which ones you want for the love of Christ. I'll send them to you at cost. I keep telling you this.
I will just order a pair at
You
some
don't
point,
need to
but
pay full price for our own merch. It's insane.
no, I will at some point. It's just I keep forgetting, but I'm like, my point is I think I need to do a third pair of pants
Yes.
because I'm like, these are the pants I prefer to live in. They're just so comfortable.
Do you have a Christmas pair?
I don't think.
Well, that's something to think about.
It's true. I mean, I was at one point leaning towards the Hanukkah pair,
Hmm.
even though you would think I wouldn't want because I feel wrong because I don't know, but they're a stunning blue.
They're beautiful. Yeah.
So I will shout out to Hanukkah because the blue for Hanukkah is I'm stunning.
Listen, I
So I
love
have
it.
debated because I'm like I've got red, I've got green. Maybe I go with the blue. Who knows? But I'm gonna look into to more pairs, but I mean, it just
Listen,
it has to happen.
I respect it. I also really like those pajama pants, and I should get some new ones because my other ones are a little too big for me now. So I should get some new ones.
I get that.
Listen, I am so excited about this episode. We added this last minute.
Yeah.
We added this last minute. And I will just say, I've had a bit of a bitch of a day, and I don't need to get into it. It doesn't matter. It's just been one of those days. And
Mm-hmm.
Christy very sweetly earlier messaged me and said, if you don't want to record today, like we can find another time, like whatever you need. And I just wrote back and was like, oh, the only thing keeping me afloat is knowing that I get to do
Mm.
this tonight. I was
Yeah.
like, this is the bright light in the darkness right now. So I could not be happier. I literally watched this documentary a couple days after it came out, immediately messaged Christy and was like, we need to consider doing this. I also explicitly was like, don't worry if the research if there isn't a lot to find out, don't worry because I'll talk about this for hours. I have lots of big opinions that are not going to be popular and I don't care. We're of course talking about Unknown Number, the High School Catfish, the documentary that's taken the world by storm on Netflix. And if
Yeah.
you're not familiar, have no fear, I've got a synopsis right here. In October 2020, a young teenaged couple received a series of text messages from an unknown number telling them to break up. The couple just assumed that the messages were a harmless prank, so they ignored them. 11 months later, the anonymous messages returned, but this time they were aggressive, vulgar, and at times threatening. The anonymous number sent 40 to 50 messages to the couple every single day for nearly 2 years, but the sheriff's department was unable to figure out who was behind it. When the FBI was brought in, the identity of the unknown number was finally revealed, and no one in town saw it coming. So, what kind of messages was Unknown sending? Why was that couple specifically targeted? And who was behind it all? Christy Oxborrow investigates.
It's the fact that this came up on a brunch we did recently on Patreon where
Yes.
it was like, are you guys going to be doing that episode? And I said, we want to, but like I I put out like the newsletter for Patreon, or well, I mean, technically you put it out, to show all the episodes we're doing for September. And so I was like, well, I've already done that. So obviously Catfish is going to have to get pushed to October. And then we were like, or we just squeeze it in.
Yeah, I think again, I think anybody over there, there it says on the newsletter, episodes subject to change because sometimes stuff comes
Sure.
up. And I think in this case, what came up was the documentary that's gripping the world.
Yeah.
I was like, why put it off? Let's go, baby.
Yeah. God, I love when you do that. And yeah, and I mean, to anybody who has seen the newsletter and is like, wait, I thought it was going to be this episode. Don't worry. We've just squeezed this one in, and then those ones will follow. So then we'll
Yes.
get back to being on task.
Oh yeah,
So,
I was just too excited. I was like,
oh yeah, I don't think there's going to be a complaint unless I get too
again,
mean
I, I
in this.
literally, I literally have been considering posting about this on the internet just to talk to somebody about it. Like before you watched it, I was like, what do I have to do?
Hmm.
What do I have to do?
Hmm.
I also, quick aside, I watched a WWE documentary series on Netflix. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I took to
Hmm.
Threads and I started just posting about it because I was like, somebody will engage me because I just had some thoughts I needed to share. And then I was like,
Of
I guess this is what
course.
the internet's for.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I couldn't be happier. You were looking for your space.
I just think Triple H is has feelings for someone he shouldn't. That's all. It just feels, and listen, it's controversial, but I stand by it. I think Rhea Ripley, I think he sees somebody in her. We all know who. I think he's conflicted. I don't think Stephanie
Mhm.
likes it, but that's my opinion. Anyway, back to task.
What I like is you sprinkle like a 90s heartthrob in front of me and I can't focus and I've run off on things. For you, wrestling.
Yeah. I feel
Specifically
about it
like
honestly.
90s wrestlers, I think.
What's that?
Specifically 90s wrestlers, I think.
90s,
Early
early
2000s.
2000s. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that makes sense. I'm going to say it. I like who we are.
I do too.
So,
I like me.
yeah, and you should. So, disclaimer, this episode will contain mentions of rape, suicide, and child abuse. So, trigger warning for those who need it. So, in the fall of 2019, Lauren Licari and Owen McKenney were both 12 years old and in the seventh grade at Beale City Elementary School in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. They had a lot in common, including a love of sports. So, Owen sent Lauren a DM on Instagram. Then, in classic preteen fashion, Owen had his friends tell Lauren he liked her, and then soon the couple was dating. The Licari and McKenney families became close. They traveled together for sports tournaments. They took camping trips. They even bubbled together during the pandemic. When Lauren and Owen were in the eighth grade, um, oh, Lauren's mom, Kendra, volunteered to be the coach for Owen's track team. Owen said Kendra was like a second mother to him. In October 2020, an unknown phone number sent a group text to Lauren and Owen saying, quote, "Hi, Lauren. Owen is going to break up with you." A series of messages followed, which read, "He no longer likes you and hasn't liked you for a while. It's obvious he wants me. He laughs, smiles, touches my hair. Not sure what he told you, but he is coming to the Halloween party and we're both DTF. I was going to say it, but I'm not. You are a sweet girl, but I know you can't give him what he wants. Sorry, not sorry." Lauren and Owen believed the messages were just a harmless prank meant to break them up, and they just ignored it. And thankfully, the messages quickly stopped and life continued as though the messages had never happened in the first place. Lauren and Owen remained together and were often referred to as the golden couple. Everything was going well until September 13th, 2021, when the anonymous text messages started up again. The first one read, "How's the happy couple?" And while that seems harmless, things quickly escalated from there. Soon there were messages calling Lauren ugly, anorexic, and worthless. And while the messages were being sent to both Lauren and Owen, the vitriol in them was definitely directed at Lauren. A few examples of the text they were receiving: um, "Owen will never look at you again. You fucked his life up so bad. His family fucking hates you for it. He is fucking done with you. You are worthless. You mean nothing. You never have. Owen sitting by me in history. Sorry, not sorry. We fucking take you down, bitch. Not a lot of
Sentence doesn't even make sense.
nope. In one particular message, the unknown number sent a photo of Lauren and Owen from homecoming with the word hoe written across the front and the vomit emoji covering Lauren's face. The messages also mocked Lauren's basketball skills, teasing her anytime she had a bad game, and saying things like, quote, get hurt and be done. And if mocking a teenage girl and making her self-conscious wasn't bad enough, the messages soon took a quick turn from aggressive to straight up vulgar. The unknown number started texting the sexual things they wanted to do to Owen. I'll again remind you at the time these messages were being sent, Lauren and Owen were about 13 or 14 years old. A few examples of just how vulgar these messages got. Quote, and I cannot believe I'm saying this. Owen and I down to suck finger fuck, which is has bothered me from the second it said it in the documentary, and then
I
the
know.
second I made it go back and say it again because I was like, I did not hear that. Ugh. And then, quote, his dick and fingers, my pussy and mouth. So, again, teenagers. Lauren and Owen tried to call the number, but the person never answered. Sometimes Lauren responded to the text. She even outright begged the person to stop. She said, I honestly cannot take any more and will do anything you want if you please stop. But sadly, the messages continued. The unknown number sent 40 to 50 messages every single day. They tried to block the number, but the unknown texter was using a burner app, which allowed them to send messages from a series of phone numbers. So when they blocked one number, messages would immediately come through from another number. And while they weren't able to narrow down who the unknown number might be, they were quick to believe that it was someone that they knew. The unknown number sometimes used Lauren's little-known nickname of Low. They always seemed to know where Lauren was, exactly what she was wearing, any results of Lauren's sporting events. And with the sexual texts regarding Owen, they believed the culprit was likely a jealous classmate. Lauren and Owen's mothers, Kendra and Jill, went to the school to demand that something be done. The school suggested that Lauren and Owen just get new numbers, but their parents refused, saying, well, once their friends have these new numbers, the unknown number is likely easily going to find it. In January 2022, the Licari and McKinney families had a meeting at the school, and the principal, Dan Boyer, the school superintendent, Bill Chilman, and the town sheriff, Mike Main, were also at the meeting. Owen's mother, Jill, did most of the talking, as Lauren's mother, Kendra, spent most of the meeting hysterically crying. Jill said she was concerned about Owen's mental health, saying that the harassment had turned him into a completely different person. She said he was becoming overly aggressive on the basketball court, talking back at home, and becoming completely unrecognizable. Um, Kendra Licari was asked about Lauren, and she said she was concerned about Lauren's mental health. She was afraid Lauren might hurt herself. Jill and Kendra then asked to speak privately to the basketball team to try and get to the bottom of things themselves, but the superintendent said no. At the time of the meeting, the superintendent, as well as Lauren's friend Sophie, believed that Lauren was the one sending the messages to herself for the sake of attention. The principal and the sheriff, however, believed that the culprit was another student. But with hundreds of students enrolled at Beale City High School, it was nearly impossible to narrow it down. Principal Dan Boyer started checking security cameras, specifically checking the timestamps that corresponded to when the text messages came in to see which students were on their phones at which time. Unfortunately, they were not able to identify the culprit. The harassment continued for months, and soon the unknown number started claiming they were hanging out with Owen behind Lauren's back. It started to cause so much tension and fighting between Lauren and Owen that in November 2021, Owen suggested the only way to stop the messages was to break up. Lauren suggested maybe they just take a break. Um, But soon the unknown number was texting them things like, he already chose us, not you. You proved he isn't important to you. You don't get with him in bed. You don't sneak out with him. You fucking dress awful. Ain't no guy want that. With the text still coming, Lauren and Owen officially broke up, but that did not stop the aggressive messages. The unknown number sent messages claiming they were hanging out with Owen and he was openly flirting with other girls and looking to move on. When basketball season started, three freshmen were moved to the varsity team. Lauren remained on the junior varsity squad. The unknown number sent Lauren a message that said, "You suck at basketball. He ain't dating no suck ass anorexic, not good enough JV girl." And while the messages ranged from aggressive and hurtful to straight up sexually inappropriate, they took yet another dark turn when they started to suggest that Lauren take her own life. The unknown number said Owen hated Lauren and Owen's life would be better off if Lauren was dead. There were also messages like, "No one will care if you're gone." And the incredibly dark one that really stood out to me, quote, "Dead, hashtag bang bang, hashtag suicide."
It's
Dark,
crazy.
dark. And if telling a 14-year-old girl to kill herself wasn't dark enough, the messages also escalated to full-on threats saying, "Finish yourself before we do." So these intense and at times obscene messages continued for well over a year, with hundreds of thousands of messages being sent. The sheriff was eager to identify the culprit, so we're going to look at the three suspects that they immediately found. Chloe Wilson was a popular girl in the same year as Lauren and Owen. She'd been competing in sports with Lauren for years, so there was a bit of animosity between them. Chloe was also known to have a bit of a crush on Owen. In one of the texts sent to Lauren and Owen, unknown number mocked Lauren's performance during a specific basketball game and then followed it up by saying that they personally scored 12 points in that game. Well, when police checked the score sheet from that specific game, they discovered only one player scored 12 points that night, and that was Chloe. And while Chloe may seem like a suspect, it seems more likely she was being framed. If you're willing to use an app to hide your phone number, why would you be foolish enough to say you specifically scored 12 points in a basketball game knowing that would easily identify you? It just makes no sense. But it looked incredibly suspicious when during spring break, some of the area codes used by the unknown number were from Florida, where Chloe happened to be on vacation with her family. Some suggested that Chloe thought she could get away with the cyberbullying because her father was a police officer. Chloe denied any involvement. Um, she gave her phone to the police. They conducted a full forensic download and found nothing suspicious. I will also note, yes, her father was a police officer. No, he was not involved in this case at all. The day after Chloe's interview with police, the unknown number sent a text to Lauren saying, "Bitches, I talked to police yesterday, then fucking kept my fucking phone, fucking searched it, copied it, found nothing bad." Again, it just makes no sense to hide your identity while at the same time giving very obvious details to your identity. Someone took the time to make sure that Chloe would look suspicious. The sheriff briefly considered Lauren's friend Sophie Weber as a possible unknown number, um, as it was believed that the culprit might be motivated by a crush on Owen. Sophie and Owen were childhood friends, as Owen's mother Jill and Sophie's mother Corinne were best friends. But Corinne went through Sophie's phone, found nothing incriminating, and police couldn't find anything, so Sophie was quickly removed as a possible suspect. Then the unknown number sent Lauren a picture taken at Owen's house during a family Christmas party. Only two people in that entire school were at Owen's house at the time that photo was taken. One of those people was Owen, but since he was in the photo, he likely wasn't the sender. And the other person present at that Christmas party was Owen's cousin, Adriana. In middle school, Adriana was allegedly bullied by Sophie and Macy, who were close friends with Lauren. Adriana also played volleyball with Sophie, Macy, and Chloe. So we're supposed to believe that Adriana had it out for Sophie and Macy. So she took out her frustration and started bullying Lauren. And then maybe she had some sort of volleyball beef with Chloe. So she then tried to frame her for everything. I mean, it doesn't make much sense. When questioned by police, Adriana denied being involved with the unknown number. She denied taking the photo at the Christmas party. The police were just unable to find any evidence that she was involved, and Adriana was removed as a potential suspect. And while police ran out of suspects, the horrific text continued, asking Owen if he'd help take Lauren down, calling Lauren a fucking waste. Again, these were being sent to an impressionable teenage girl. By this point, Lauren's and Owen's parents were at their wits' end. The overwhelming stress of the situation was causing sleepless nights, even putting strain on the Lakaris' marriage. But the sheriff was at a loss for what to do, so he reached out to the FBI, who brought in Brad Peter. Brad is officially a police officer from Bay City, which is about 59 miles east of Beale City. However, as part of an agreement between the local police and the FBI, Brad was deputized by the FBI to specifically investigate digital crimes under the Mid Michigan Computer Crimes Task Force. Brad was brought into the case about 18 months after the harassing messages first started. The burner apps only kept subscriber records for 2 weeks, so he had to constantly check all the new numbers these messages were coming from. Thanks to a search warrant of the burner app in April 2022, Brad was able to see that one of the numbers used by unknown number connected to a Verizon IP address in the Ann Arbor and Detroit area, and another to a server at the Beale City High School. Apparently, during the pandemic, the high school extended its Wi Fi to reach the parking lot because students were studying in their cars, I guess. Given this new information, Brad believed the unknown number was someone from the high school. He just couldn't narrow it down further. So around this time, Owen started a new relationship. While at a sporting event in Pinconning, which is about 61 miles east of Beale City, Owen met a girl. They struck up a text conversation, but soon after, the girl's mother started receiving disturbing text messages from an unknown number. It made both the girl and her mother uncomfortable, and Owen eventually had to break things off before it ever really started. A month after Brad Peters' first attempt at linking the phone number, or any of the phone numbers, to an IP address, he discovered another number used to send the vile texts, which connected to an IP address in the Mount Pleasant area, just 12 miles from Beale City. And that number was found to belong to Kendra Lakari. The person sending horrific messages suggesting that Lauren take her own life and sexually explicit messages regarding a teenage boy was Lauren's own mother. And before I go further, I just want to point out when Brad Peter discovered the unknown number connected to an IP address in the Ann Arbor, Detroit area, he initially thought it wasn't anyone directly linked to the case. So he kept going till he found an IP address that was linked to the case. At the time those messages were sent from the Ann Arbor, Detroit area, Kendra was visiting her family for Easter. Her family lives in Ann Arbor, Detroit area.
There it is.
Sheriff Mike Main arrived at the Licari home in August 2022 with a search warrant to seize all Kendra's electronic devices. When the sheriff first pulled up to the house, Kendra was outside dealing with the garbage. Sheriff Main handed Kendra a search warrant and told her she was being investigated as the suspect in her daughter's cyberbullying case. Kendra denied it. Sheriff Main then told Kendra that her phone number showed up on records as being connected to an IP address at the same time those texts were being sent. Kendra then admitted, yeah, it was me. Um, she said she didn't send the original text from back in October 2020, but she did send everything that's been sent to them since September 2021. Kendra said a group of kids sent the original texts in October 2020, and they were clearly just trying to break up Lauren and Owen. Kendra said people really rallied behind her family, and she fed off the support. and decided to start sending texts of her own. When asked why, Kendra blamed stress and financial issues. Based on the police body cam footage shown in the documentary, Lauren was home at the time this was all going on. And this was the moment she learned her mother was her cyber stalker. I know I'm not a professional. It just looks like that poor kid was in shock and completely disassociating at the time. I felt like maybe they should have waited until Lauren's father, Sean, got home before they outright told Lauren what was going on. When Sean arrived shortly after, police explained the situation, and Sean was visibly shocked. The sheriff asked Kendra if she handed over all her electronic devices. She said yes. Sean then said, well, she has 3 cell phones. She had only given 2. Sean said Kendra has a third phone, a gold iPhone, and she was always cagey whenever he asked her about it. She said she had one phone for work, one for personal, and then this third mysterious phone, and she never gave a reason for it. Kendra then admitted that when she saw the police arrive, she hid the gold phone in a stack of wood near her house, and so the sheriff was quickly able to retrieve it, as he would have if she hadn't hid it. And as though it wasn't bad enough to discover that your wife was the bully who had been harassing your daughter for nearly 2 years, in that moment, Sean Licari also learned that Kendra had been lying about their family finances. Sean worked at a local auto shop, but Kendra was the main breadwinner for the family, working in IT at Central Michigan University. In 2019, Kendra quit and took a new position at Ferris State University, working at the IT service desk. Funny enough, her IT specialty was in cell phones. Kendra told Sean that the new job came with a large pay bump from her previous job, so they decided that meant it was time to buy their dream house. But just a couple of quick notes before I move on. Kendra didn't actually quit her job at Central Michigan University. She was fired for poor performance. And the new job didn't come with a raise. So the family actually could not afford the house that they were moving into. It's just lies upon lies with this woman. In spring 2021, Kendra was put on a performance improvement plan due to excessive time on non-work texting and calls. I mean, if you're sending 50 aggressive texts a day, that's going to take time. She told her bosses at the time that she was stressed because of Lauren's sports and COVID. Kendra ended up quitting her job a few months later, but didn't tell her husband about it. She simply told him she was now working remotely from home. So for over a year, Kendra wasn't working at all. Bills started to pile up, and eventually the family got evicted from their dream home for repeated missed payments. Kendra, however, didn't mention the missed payments or the eviction. She simply told them the foundation of the house was cracked and they had to move out while it was being repaired. They got evicted from another house, also because of missed payments, but Kendra said it was a mix up because someone in New Mexico had stolen her identity and messed with her credit. When Sean's car got repossessed, Kendra said, well, that was scammers that caused that to happen. And when the checks she wrote were bouncing, Kendra claimed, oh, she's been hacked. Her banking has been hacked. And then when she continued to miss more house payments, Kendra blamed PayPal issues. So at this point, Sean is justifiably upset, so he asked Kendra to leave. He even called Kendra's parents, explained the situation, and asked them to pick her up because he could not handle having her in the house. At this point, Kendra is hugging Lauren, saying, oh, she couldn't possibly leave her daughter. Sean said, quote, you did something stupid, and if you stay, I'll do something stupid, and someone has to watch out for her. And honestly, he handled that situation a hell of a lot better than I would have. Kudos to Sean for thinking of his daughter before flying off the handle, because I would have fucking snapped and not cared who heard it. Um, and I know that this was just like an execution of a search warrant, but I feel police should have waited until Sean arrived and then talk to them separately before Lauren was looped in. I just don't think Kendra should have been allowed to sit there and paw at her daughter right after Lauren learned what her mother had done. Lauren should have been given the chance to process what she was hearing before deciding if she wanted to see her mother or not. But the big question here is, why did Kendra cyberbully her own daughter? Because when you look at some of the things that were said, they were dark. Starting with the absolutely vulgar things that she said about Owen. Again, the one that will stay with me till the day that I die. Owen and I down to suck finger fuck, which doesn't make sense, but also is like, again, this is an adult woman referring to a 13, 14-year-old boy.
It's bad.
It's bad. Um, and the absolutely vile things she was saying about her own daughter, uh, putting down her daughter's looks, calling her a skank, calling her a hoe, making fun of her for not giving blowjobs at the age of 14 is insane to me. And then to outright suggest Lauren take her own life? Kendra said she wasn't actually worried that Lauren would hurt herself because she knew Lauren well enough to know she wouldn't do anything like that. And maybe she knows her daughter really well, or maybe she's naive about how much she knows. Either way, it is a risky game to play. I was going to fill this part with stats about children who've taken their own lives because of bullying, but it just got so heartbreaking. I will say a quick Google brings up at least 11 different cases in the past year alone with kids ranging in age from 8 to 14. Those are just the cases that got press. I can't imagine how many more there are, but one of the big things you see over and over again in cases like that is that people are saying how shocked they are because they never thought the child would be capable of doing something like that. A lot of people with suicidal thoughts don't tell anyone about them, even those closest to them. So I think Kendra should consider herself lucky that Lauren didn't do anything drastic. Again, she sent her 14-year-old daughter a text which read, "Dead, hashtag bang bang, hashtag suicide." I think that one also will stick with me for a while. And while this is all an absolute horror show, I also want to take a moment to point out that while Kendra was harassing the teenagers, she was also going out of her way to try and blame another teenager. Kendra sent texts claiming she scored 12 points in a basketball game. The only student to do so was Chloe Wilson. And who was the scorekeeper at those basketball games? Kendra Lakari. Whenever Chloe would travel, Kendra would make sure the unknown numbers had area codes matching the places where Chloe was traveling to. Whether it was a Florida area code while Chloe was on a spring break vacation with her family, or a 906 area code while she was snowmobiling with her family in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. And since Chloe's father was a police sergeant, maybe there was a part of Kendra that believed Chloe would somehow be protected, so she was a safe target to blame. But it's just despicable to me to try and blame a child for your own messed up adult behavior. In February 2022, months before it was discovered that Kendra was the unknown number, Chloe's father, Craig, told Sheriff Maine he believed Kendra was responsible. It was not said whether the sheriff took that tip seriously or not. So now we know Kendra did this. Again, the big question is why. I mean, there are a lot of theories, most leaning towards mental illness of some sort. The school superintendent, Bill Chilman, suggested it was like a cyber version of Munchausen's by proxy, which is now more commonly known as factitious disorder imposed on another. Basically, it's when a caregiver, usually a mother, makes their child appear to be sick by either faking symptoms or purposely causing the symptoms. Superintendent Chilman believes Kendra did this knowing Lauren would get upset and come running to her for support. Factitious disorder is all about getting attention, so is it possible Kendra did the entire thing knowing she'd get attention? Yeah, it put a spotlight on Lauren, but people were constantly coming up to Kendra to talk about it and see if she was okay and how she was handling it. So I'm sure she enjoyed that level of attention. Some have also suggested that Kendra may have had some sort of inappropriate crush on Owen and that she was trying to get him for herself. Kendra often inserted herself into Lauren and Owen's relationship. She would constantly ask them to take photos of them and would insist in every photo that they put their arms around each other. A friend of Lauren's once saw Kendra take Lauren's phone and reply to a text from Owen saying, "I love you." Now, I don't know if the couple was already saying that to each other at the time or if Kendra was trying to force things along, but texting a teenage boy while pretending to be his girlfriend and saying "I love you" is unhinged. Speaking of which, in August 2022, Owen and Lauren attended a volleyball game together. Now, at this point, the unknown number text had kind of like driven a wedge between them, and Owen had started to pull away from the relationship. So they went to the game together, but they weren't sitting together. While Kendra was there, sitting across the gym from them, she noticed they weren't sitting together. So she proceeded to send Lauren a series of texts. What were those texts? I'm happy you asked. Sit next to him. Answer me. Come here now. I'm pissed. Move your ass. Then she said now on two separate texts. I am fuming pissed off. This is fucking ridiculous. Answer me and move your ass. So was Kendra just controlling of every aspect of Lauren's life, or was Kendra slightly interested in Owen and was trying to live vicariously through her daughter? At one point, Kendra volunteered to coach Owen's track team. Did she have previous track experience? Or was she just looking for an excuse to spend time with Owen? There was a time Owen had a championship game like 3 hours away, and Kendra insisted on driving Lauren there to be supportive. And one time, Owen had a tournament in Florida, and Kendra suggested her family go with them as like a vacation. Owen's parents politely said, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it possible that Kendra was trying to break the couple up because she wanted Owen for herself? Did did she know she couldn't have him? So she just wanted to make sure no one else could? I mean, the messages succeeded in breaking them up and even prevented Owen from dating another girl months later. But she continued the harassing messages long after Lauren and Owen had broken up. So if breaking them up was the main goal, it doesn't make sense for the harassment to continue like it did, unless she just got addicted to it. And that's a whole other thing. But maybe it wasn't about Owen at all. Maybe it was specifically about making Lauren as miserable as possible for whatever reason. According to Kendra, she said the reason she cyberbullied her own daughter was because of her own unresolved childhood trauma. Kendra claims she was raped when she was 17 and that when Lauren started getting older, she got scared. Kendra said, quote, I was afraid of letting her grow up, wanted to protect her and keep her safe. Just a reminder, her version of keeping Lauren safe was to anonymously text Lauren and call her pathetic for not giving blowjobs, and because of that, she should kill herself. Bullying your own child because you don't think they are sexually adventurous enough at the age of 14 is insane to me. According to the police report following the search warrant, Kendra asked if they could keep the matter quiet and not let other people find out because she didn't want this to negatively affect the way people treated Lauren at school. So I'm glad that years into this, she now cares about her daughter's well being. In December 2022, Kendra was officially charged with 2 counts of stalking a minor, 2 counts of communicating with another to commit a crime, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. I am shocked that there were no sexual harassment or sexual abuse charges, given the explicit nature of the text she was sending. But I'm not a police officer or a lawyer, so what do I know? On the day of Kendra's arrest, Lauren emptied her locker and went home and finished the rest of her sophomore year online. So, even more isolation caused by Kendra's actions. Kendra took a plea deal in March 2023 and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of stalking a minor. The other charges were dismissed. At her sentencing hearing, Kendra read a statement in which she apologized to Owen and his family, to Chloe and her family, and to Lauren and Sean. Kendra said that since being caught, she'd been through counseling and she had learned she had depression, anxiety, and suppressed childhood trauma, and she was unaware that she was in crisis for many years. Kendra insisted that she didn't send the initial text back in October 2020, but that when she saw how many people rallied behind her family with those first texts, she started doing them herself in September 2021, and it just got out of hand, which is the tamest way to describe sending a 14-year-old boy a text which read, "Down to suck finger fuck. I'll never let that go." I just,
I don't think you need to let it go. It's absolutely egregious,
it
disgusting,
is
chilling. Yeah.
next level. I can't. Um, and while I can grasp the concept of wanting to do something purely for attention, I find it wild that Kendra can say things just got out of hand when she was outright telling her daughter to kill herself. There is nothing this woman can ever say that will make me go, oh, yeah, I can see why this all happened. And yes, I understand that Kendra is a survivor and has her own unresolved trauma, and I'm not downplaying that. But what she did to those kids was inexcusable. And I'm not just referring to the horrific treatment of Lauren and Owen, but also the fact that Kendra tried to blame Chloe for the entire thing with absolutely no concern of how that might affect her. In the documentary, Kendra tried to really play it off as like she simply made a mistake. And everyone makes mistakes. And that's true. Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of being human. But to aggressively bully and sexually harass teenagers goes beyond a simple mistake. She said, quote, realistically, a lot of us have probably broken the law at some point or another and not gotten caught. As though we're really only angry at her because she got caught or because she broke the law. You are mentally and emotionally abusing children, including your own daughter. And to say, everyone breaks the law at some point, it's just a shitty way to try and downplay what you did and act like it was no big deal. Kendra said, quote, I know I'm some headline, I'm a villain, I'm a bad mom, but that's because they only know one piece of my story. They don't know the whole story. And I know I may be in the wrong here for saying this, but to me, the second you send sexually vile things to children and outright tell your 14-year-old daughter to kill herself, I don't give a shit what your story is. Absolutely nothing will ever, ever excuse the actions. Kendra was sentenced to a minimum of 19 months in prison, minus the 22 days she had already served. Now, even though the events of this case are relatively recent, I was still curious, what is there an update on anybody, mainly the key players in the story? So Chloe, Owen, and Lauren all graduated from Beale City High School in May 2024. Chloe Wilson got a volleyball scholarship to attend Montcalm Community College in Sydney, Michigan. After being crowned senior homecoming king, Owen McKinney got a baseball scholarship to Hope College in Holland, Michigan. When interviewed by The Cut, Owen said, quote, I was mad at Lauren. I don't think I will talk to her in the future. And for those who are surprised that Owen's anger seems to be directed at Lauren, who is even more of a victim than he was, I'll say many people in their community believed Lauren somehow knew her mother was behind the texts. Close friends say that while Lauren wasn't aware at first, shortly before Kendra was caught, Lauren had started to question if her mother might be behind the unknown number. So Lauren had started to suspect it, but I think any anger towards her is misplaced. Yes, Owen was also receiving those vile messages. And yes, Kendra used the same unknown number bullshit to potentially wreck a new relationship for him. I'm not downplaying the stress and outright emotional abuse that he went through during that nearly 2 year ordeal. I just think Lauren got the brunt of it. All the emotional and mental abuse aside, Lauren lost friendships over this. She was treated like a villain, and she had to leave the school for half a year during the fallout. Owen was named fucking homecoming king. Again, I'm glad he was able to move on. He deserved to be able to move on. But Lauren also deserves to move on, and she certainly did not deserve to be the target of someone's hate and anger. Owen outright admitted when Lauren returned to school the year after her mother's arrest, he avoided her because he was angry at her. And while he is a child and I'm not judging his choices, I am sad for Lauren because she absolutely didn't deserve to be hated or ignored because of her mother's actions. Lauren Licari has plans to attend university to study criminology. She says that while she wants to trust her mother, she doesn't think she can. She also said she will eventually see her mother again, but only when the time is right. Lauren said, quote, I just want her to get the help she needs so that when we see each other, it doesn't go back to the old ways and how it was before. After Kendra was revealed to be the cyberbully, her husband Sean filed for divorce and was granted full custody of their daughter. As for Kendra, she was released in August 2024 after serving roughly 16 months. She will remain on supervised probation until February 2026. In the meantime, she cannot leave the state of Michigan. She must make an earnest effort to find and keep a job. And as part of her plea deal, Kendra is not allowed to see Lauren. However, she is allowed to contact Lauren and did so throughout her time in prison, which I don't think should have been allowed, but that's just my personal opinion. I understand Kendra is Lauren's mother, but when it comes to light that the parent is the child's longtime abuser, I think steps should be taken before the parent is allowed to contact the child at all. And yes, they weren't allowed to physically see each other, but Kendra was still allowed to send emails and speak to Lauren on the phone. I have an example of one of the emails that was sent. Okay, so, quote, hello, my curly monkey head. I'm mad at you. You made me sad. You only said bye. You didn't say I love you. Frowny face. I forgive you. Smiley face. XOXO. I love you. Have a fan oh no. Fan ostrich day. Combination of fantastic, awesome, and terrific. Now, I'm absolutely skipping over that made up word, even though it feels like Kendra trying way too hard to seem super loving and supportive. But the rest of that message is so absolutely toxic. Even jokingly telling a child they made you mad or sad because they didn't say I love you is manipulative at best. A child, especially a minor, is not responsible for their parents' feelings, and trying to manipulate Lauren into feeling bad is just proof that Kendra is still using toxic behavior to try and control her daughter. I will echo Lauren's sentiments and say, I really hope that Kendra gets the help that she needs because I don't believe that has occurred yet. From the best I can tell, following her release, Kendra is living with her family near Detroit, Michigan. You know Detroit, the city which has been home to the Nicholas Uncaged Film Festival for the past 10 years. The festival, of course, celebrates Nicolas Cage, and if I'm recalling correctly, was first brought to our attention by one of our dear patrons during a brunch that we had over on Patreon. If anyone is interested, the festival is at nicholas.uncaged on Instagram. And speaking of cinema, specifically cinematic legends, one might say, in 2024, Lifetime released a movie based on this case. It's called Mommy Meanest, and the Kendra character is played by the one and only Lisa Rinna.
Oh,
Reporting for
wow.
this roller coaster of a ride, I'm Christy Oxborrow.
I have so much to talk about here. I cannot wait. Um, Also, that's the longest it's taken you to get to the Nicolas Cage, and I forgot and was so
Oh,
delighted.
I part of me was like, I couldn't find a great spot, but then I was also like, maybe I'll make her think I forgot. Or
I
maybe I'll make her
completely
think I didn't
forgot.
do it.
I completely forgot. Well, it was exceptional. Anyway, let's hit the can, grab another drink, and we'll be back to discuss my very opinionated feelings
Hmm.
on the unknown number, the high school catfish episode of True Crime and Cocktails. Two, one, two, three. Welcome back to this episode of True Crime and Cocktails. Of course, we're discussing Unknown Number, the high school catfish. I'm chomping at the bit. Cannot wait to get into this. Let's go. Um, okay. From the beginning, I feel like I personally did not see it coming that it was her. Just
Oh,
speaking
sure.
about the documentary for a second, I thought it was going to be a police officer. I was like, it felt like we were, I for sure did not think it was one of the kids at all. I was like,
No,
is it the high school principal or the superintendent? And then it was like they were talking about going into the police. I immediately was like, it's one of the police officers. It's got to be like there's got to be some other thing. I didn't see it coming that it was Kendra personally. I didn't I felt like they duped me. I think other people have been saying they saw it coming. I don't know whether that's real if they're just saying that, but
sure.
for me, I did not see it coming.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I sent you a voice note when I was
Yes.
starting it, and my thought was, I think it's either the one of the parents or it's the principal.
Yeah.
And I said, and this was before, like as I was pressing play, because I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I knew that people were like, oh my God. So I'm like, it's not going to be a kid. There's
No.
not a planet. There's going to be a child that everyone's shocked it was the child.
No.
And so I'm like, there's going to be somebody. And then I was like, it's got to be one of these parents because something isn't right.
Something is not right.
No.
I think, I think one of the big things too for me was the fact that like Beale City is such a small town that it
Yes.
was it was like everybody knows everybody type vibes. So I feel like it felt even I think part of the reason why this whole thing like gripped the town and became such a thing, like I don't in a big city, like I don't feel like anybody would care. I don't feel like the police would be like, we've got bigger problems. Like I
Sure.
just feel like it's the fact that it was such a small community and everybody knew everybody, everybody was friends. Like it's like when it comes out that it's Kendra and Owen's mom was like, that's impossible because it was one of her closest friends, right? So like
Right.
it was that kind of vibe that I think like added to me to like almost the depravity. Like I think if it was a larger city, kids I think can be a little bit more, you know, finger fuck suck or whatever. Um, it just felt like there's like a little bit of an innocent. I'm not saying innocence to all the kids necessarily, but an innocence to the town that like really got kind of destroyed along with
Sure.
all of this, right? Um, the other thing I want to say about the down to fuck finger suck his mouth my hole whatever it was,
Yeah.
the thing that was really striking me was I was like, as I was watching before the reveal, I was like, who is writing this? Like, are they trying to make it sound like that's how a teenager would write? But I also want to point out these weren't even teenagers when they started. They were 12 when this started the first time.
Right.
Those are I mean, they're still children even if they're a teenager, but 12? That's a little kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
it's too
don't
far.
feel like there's even like I don't know. I just don't know what her like you love this. I don't know what her motivation was behind texting that way unless it's I was like does she feel like that's hot? Like does she feel like that's how
Oh,
she sexts? You know?
that's hot to her. Whereas it's
Weird.
like, I don't
We
know.
need to give this woman some fairy smut or something and get her on the
I
straight
don't
and
even
narrow.
think Fairy Smut is gonna say suck finger fuck in a thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Like
I think
it's
that she needs to
she needs
be
to let's tone down to
let's
the
tone it
Fae.
down
Tone down to Fae level,
to
maybe.
yeah to bring it back to the Fae.
Yeah.
Um The burner cell app does take me back to when I pranked Christy by I surprised her for her
Yep.
40th birthday by sending a series of elaborate package texts from USPS using a burner app. And I will say there is a rush that does come along with it. Now, granted, I was also doing it for good. I felt sick that I was lying to her and even made a shirt that said "Happy Birthday, I'm so sorry I lied to you." But it was
Mhm.
all for the ruse. It was in good
Of
fun, all of those
course.
things. But it is wild to me that um yeah, I mean, I learned through that. that ruse, that it's much easier than you think it would be to be able to
Mm,
pull something like this off. And it really is. I mean, her biggest mistake was just doing it for as long as she did. If she hadn't
100%.
continued, I feel like no one would have pressed it. And it was only the IP address.
Oh, yeah. If she had done it for like 6 months to a year, no one probably ever would have known.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The fact again that it got to the point that like Lauren was begging the texter to stop. I mean, it's so dark and awful. Um, and the timeline also, like jumping ahead for a second, when it was like, well, it was other kids doing it at first, and then I just started doing it 11 months later. There's so many reasons why that makes no sense. And the police even say in the thing too that they're like, we've found nothing that would lead us to believe those texts were from anybody else.
Right?
Like, there's been no proof of anything else. So to me, it's like two things. One, if it was her, why did she take almost a year off? Like, what was it that happened that like satiated the itch at that time? That then a
Right.
year late, almost a full year later, she was like, I got to get back to that. That's interesting to me from a psychologist hat level. On the other side, if it was other kids, giving her that benefit of the doubt for no good reason, she did say at one point in the documentary, like, well, I thought that if I started doing it, then that could make some of the kids kind of out themselves. Like she tried to make it sound like this was some elaborate scheme to like figure out who had been texting them. But it's like it was 11 months later. It happened a couple of
Yeah.
times and then it didn't happen for over a year. Why almost a year later would you be like, I have to get to the bottom of these texts now? The only way to do it is to verbally abuse my own daughter. Like, what?
Yeah. It
There's
makes no
just so
sense.
many layers to everything she was saying that, like, just don't check out. We know that she has an ability to lie repeatedly and
Yep.
extensively. So to me, I just don't see any truth in anything that she's saying. I mean, again, she's an unreliable narrator, but I just thought that was such an interesting and weird thing to be like, well, I thought that if I started doing it, then the kids at school would get talking. And then, because it wasn't them, it was like somebody doing it for them. Then they'd out themselves. I can't remember. I'm of course paraphrasing, but it was something like
Sure.
that. And I was like, those are the ramblings of a mentally ill person. Um, I thought it was very sad that immediately they blamed Lauren, saying she was doing it for herself for attention. I was like, that's such a classic move.
I can't
Like,
believe a friend was willing to go on camera and be like, I
I
thought it was
know,
her.
I
I was like,
know.
you're not tight with her then, huh, Soph? Soph.
Thanks for Soph. Um, I think the diabolical thing again is that with those apps, you can't block the number because you can just create a
That's
new one.
horrific.
I know. It's over the top. Um, but again, these are the other things. I'm going to be jumping around in the timeline, but bear with me. So when Kendra reveals that she'd been sexually assaulted when she was 17 and she wanted to protect her daughter, I will say that I have heard of stories of people who have been abused as children or teens. And listen, again, I'm not an expert, just a fan of the therapeutic arts. Um, but I have heard some stories about people like they have a child and they feel fine, but then the child gets to the age that they were when they experienced their trauma,
Interesting.
and it can trigger them in a really intense way. So I can see the possibility that if, Kendra was assaulted at 17, I can see there being a world in which, as Lauren was getting older, perhaps this did bring up things for her. Perhaps this did trigger her in a really deep way. I'm not in any way suggesting that that justifies what she did. It doesn't. Um, just because you're traumatized doesn't mean that it excuses traumatizing someone else. There are plenty of people who unfortunately have to endure trauma that never do that to other people. So that holds no water for me. But the other thing that it did make me think, because there's also like, I've heard stories about like, some people, if they endure a certain amount of abuse at an age, then they can kind of like remain at that age. Or if there's like a trauma that happens, like,
Mm,
your brain can kind of like keep you in that same, mental age almost.
Sure.
And so I was like, her behavior does seem like it could be that of a teenager. So I was like, that's also a factor in there. Does she feel like mentally she's kind of like stuck in that, not that time, but that vibe, that feeling? I don't know. I also thought it
Sure.
was interesting that I think it was her cousin, right? Was in the
Oh,
documentary
yep.
who was saying she loves attention. And I was like, interesting. This is coming from like one of your closest friends. That's not that close, Soph. Same vibe, right?
Yeah. Because
Like
that
she
was
was
the
really,
whole, if I'm talking here, she's going to be over there dancing to try and draw your eye.
which is not a
Yeah.
great trait in general. I think, but yeah, anyway, so just I think that obviously the reason why I love this story so much, I don't love it, but you know what I mean. I'm fascinated by this story so
Of
much is the
course.
psychology of it because I'm just like trying to unpack like how does that happen? What is this trauma? What is this diagnosis? All of these things. And to me, I do believe that her own trauma in her teenage years could have, been a factor. But there's again so many ways that that gets unraveled. Because if she was just panicking, oh my God, my daughter has her first boyfriend. This is triggering my deep memory of the pain that I had endured because of a teenage boy. I'm assuming I shouldn't, but I assume she was assaulted by another teen. It may have been an adult. I don't know. The point is this: she succeeded because if her goal was to protect her child, then the manifestation would be to try and break them up, and she did.
Right.
But then she didn't stop. And so that's another place where this falls apart for me that I'm like, it's not just that, Kendra. Yes, I believe that it's possible you were triggered. It brought up something that you didn't foresee happening. But by the way, if this was just trying to protect your child, then it doesn't you would have stopped as soon as they broke up. And
Yeah.
then I guess she could argue, well, I had to keep it going to like not make it look like that was what it was about, but she didn't even say that. That's me giving her way too much credit. Um, and then the other point to that you touched on too is like, so if your intention was to try and protect your child, why are you shaming her for not giving blowjobs? Why are you getting
Right.
so sexual and weird? And like, I also think again, this was a child sex crime. I think that the level that she took things to when texting children, I do think there's been a lot of discourse I've seen on like TikTok, people saying like it feels like if she was a man, she might have been charged differently. I mean, I can't speculate either way, but it does feel like again, it's like really like no sex charge, huh? We didn't want to
Right.
go there, even though she was absolutely being. I mean, again, we don't have to go back to the one that's rattled you so much, but
You're
it's
right.
um it's just so twisted. Um
I just
Now
also don't
again,
understand why she was given a plea deal.
yeah, why did she need the plea deal? You typically like, you get a plea deal when it's like they need information from you about something else, right? Like
Yeah.
I guess she just they gave her a deal to try and like shorten the trial process or save
Oh,
it from
sure.
going to trial, I guess. But I think again, like all of the recordings of her on those phone messages or whatever, the phone calls from prison to Lauren and the emails, I was like, this is so abusive. Like it is this love bombing. It's like the abuse cycle, right? Where it's like this person is showering you with love. Then there's the devaluation, then the abuse happens, then the I'm sorry, then we're back to showering you with love. Like that's the cycle. And I was just like, it's just so sad to me that it feels so overt. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm too excited. I'm making sure I didn't miss anything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, but that's the other thing. Owen got a new girlfriend. So again, it's like, why would you be continuing to harass him? If you're trying to get him away from your own daughter,
Yeah.
and then again, if you're trying to get him away from your daughter, then why are you bullying her into sitting next to him at that volleyball game? It
Right.
doesn't make sense. It feels like I feel like this is not I feel like she's acting something out. Like it doesn't feel
Mm,
to me Because I also don't know if I fully even buy the Munchausen thing. I do see the comparison. Also, it's news to me that they've changed that term. Is Munchausen offensive? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I Googled because I knew what it was, but I was like, I want a good way of like describing it. And everything was like formerly known as Munchausen's. And I was like, I did not know we changed that.
I didn't either. Well, interesting. I'll look into that. Um, I might still use that term just because it's what I know, but I apologize if there's some sort of terrible connotation with that word I don't know about. We'll
Sure.
educate ourselves when we're offline. Um, I will educate myself on my own time. Anyway, because of course the most famous one of the most famous cases of that is Mommy Dead and Dearest, which of course is Gypsy Rose, and
Right.
that was a situation where the mother was physically making her ill and making up illnesses, so that she required all this medical attention because then they got all this attention. So
Right.
it's very dark. And I'm not saying that this doesn't have that same feel. Of course it does, and there is an argument for which that it is the same thing or an extension of the same thing. Absolutely. Again, the piece that I can't let go of is is what the intention is. Because yeah, okay, you want to traumatize your daughter so that she has to come so that she needs you more, that it's like she's going to come to you and cry on your shoulder or whatever. You like the attention that like the community's giving you, the kindness, whatever. Okay. You never had to take it that far.
Mm,
Like, why did it have to turn into kill yourself? Why did it have to turn into
right?
sexual things? Like, you could torment somebody without it ever having to escalate and cross those lines. And that's the piece for me that feels odd. And the piece for me that, again, feels like I don't know if this is Munchausen because there's part of me that feels like she was trying to act out something like she wanted it wasn't that she wanted to protect her daughter from potential sexual abuse. It almost has the tone to me where she's like, I want to control how she has sexual relations.
Interesting.
Like, I'm going to push her because I know Owen's a good kid or something. I'm going on a tangent here, but like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, it's like because it doesn't make sense to me that she would just be doing this to try and quote protect her or just for quote attention. Like, it's the sexual component for me that I can't let go of. So I know that there's a contingent of people that believe that she was sexually attracted to Owen. And listen, I, it, it doesn't not seem that way. So I can't suggest that
Mm,
that's not, and I'm not trying to suggest or downplay and say, oh no, because yeah, there was a lot happening there that was weird. Asking to be his coach, wanting to go on vacation. He referenced in the documentary at one point that she would cut his meat for him at the dinner table. Like,
oh, yeah.
what? So it does feel like there is that twisted element. But I don't know. I just feel like again, what's this other layer? I feel like it's like, yeah, she wanted to control her daughter's sexuality or she wanted to control how it was going to happen for her. Um, Arguably by like bullying her, going like because again, why else would you be like, you don't what's wrong with you? You don't give him blowjobs, you're not good enough for him, you're not doing these sexual things he wants. Like
Yeah.
that to me feels like pushing her to be more sexual with Owen,
Yeah.
which is crazy when we're talking about a 12 to 14-year-old child.
Yeah. I also don't get why loop Owen into the text to begin with.
Right.
Why wasn't she just sending them to her daughter then if her goal was like, I need to talk to the daughter? Because you probably would have broken them up without having him receive the texts.
Right. Oh yeah. Like this feels like again, like I just don't feel like we have and we, likely will never truly know. Who knows if she even consciously knows? I don't know. But it feels like it's something that's far more off center than all of these other kinds of things. Like it's so twisted. Yes.
Mm,
Why would she then go after his new girlfriend's mother? Not even the new girlfriend.
right?
That's
Yeah.
weird. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many pieces of it that don't make sense, even in terms of like what she was doing and why. And by the way, I know that she ended up like getting written up and then, being fired and there was all of that thing. And then she was pretending to work from home. Think about that too. She made this her full-time job. She told her husband she was
Yeah.
working. Her full-time job was stalking these kids, stalking and sexually harassing them
Yeah.
and mentally abusing them. It's crazy. Now, when the police come and there's great body cam footage, you see the whole thing, which is wild. But when the police come, I wrote this down. I love that you said it because they confront Kendra. Kendra comes in, Lauren comes in. The cop is telling Lauren what's going on. And Kendra, the way Christy just worded it, just starts pawing at Lauren. And that's the best descriptor. It was
Yes.
this, I was so uncomfortable in that whole thing because
Hmm.
my body was screaming. My body
Yep.
as a viewer was going, don't touch her, get your hands off of her. Like,
Yep.
if it were me in that moment, and my mother had done that, and then my mother had started trying to hug me and hold me and pull me close, I would have lost my shit. Now, I'm not
Yep.
saying that Lauren is did anything wrong or she reacted how she reacted. I'm not suggesting, but I'm just saying for me, it was like a visceral response when I was watching that happening. And
Yep.
pawing is the perfect descriptor because it was just this like constant like pulling and grabbing and hugging and holding and
Head to the
caressing and
chest. Yeah.
yeah, and it was interesting to me because Lauren really doesn't react. Now, that could mean nothing. She was in shock. She was dissociating. Like, I'm not suggesting that that is necessarily indicative of anything. I will also say it felt odd to me, given, given that then she was talking about in the interviews she was like, of course I still want a relationship with my mom, of course I want this, whatever. And then of course she did change her tune by the end of the documentary in one of the more recent
Sure.
interviews where she was more like, I don't know if I can trust her. But I'm like, what else is going on? What
Mm,
else is this dynamic? Because if it
sure.
was real and she was truly shocked and she shut down in that way and just allowed her mom to manhandle her, what has been the lead up her entire life to that? Because that's a learned behavior to me. Someone
Sure.
shutting down like that, that's been a coping mechanism, right? Like, and the other thing that bumped me was Sean comes home,
Yep.
finds out she's the one behind all of this, and he never comments on the fact that Kendra was the one harassing Lauren. The only things he commented on was you were lying about your job, you were lying about the money. It's the only things he talks about is the job. So
Mm,
I only offer was it Sophie's dad? I can't remember. It was one of the other kids' dads. There is a
okay.
quick moment in the documentary where he said Lauren and Sean knew, and they glossed over it.
Oh, that was probably Chloe's dad.
I think so.
Could have been.
And there's just this part of me that feels like I don't necessarily think that they knew the whole time. And again, like you were
Interesting.
saying, there is also this thing where it was like there's the rumor or the theory that Lauren was kind of figuring it out, and so maybe she wasn't so shocked when she found out. Like,
Right.
you know, I just have this like I don't know. It bumped me that he never commented about the abuse. He only
Mm,
commented about like, I can't believe you lied to me about your job. I can't believe you lied to me about money. That's it. And then he was like, you got to get out of here. And I was like, it's interesting because it feels to me in that moment like he already knew.
I mean, it is possible. There was a time they did, I think it was the January 2022 meeting, maybe, with the parents and the school. And Owen's parents, specifically his mother, made a comment that while they were like talking about the harassment and all this, she said Sean didn't seem to have a clue that the harassment was even happening
That's interesting.
because it was like everybody else was like, this is what's happening. Like those parents had been reading through the text and this is what's going on. And it was like, oh, Sean didn't even like had no idea this was going on.
That's weird. So what, Lauren just never mentioned it at home? She only talked to her mom about it?
I wonder, I'm like, did the mom say, don't tell dad?
Well, because here's the other thing. Let's say, and I'm only speculating, I'm not accusing. But let's say at some point Lauren and Sean found out. What are they supposed to do? They're not going to turn her in. And
Mm,
I wouldn't I think that's a horrific position to be put in. I don't judge it is my point. Like it's like if they did know and they were hiding it for her, like my God, it's still her. It's still her. She's still the bad
yeah,
guy. And again, it's like what are they supposed to do? This is absolutely fucking insanity that she's kept this on for years, her own daughter. Like
yeah,
I wouldn't judge them if they had made a choice to like I guess we just keep this a secret because again, I'm not saying I would make that choice necessarily. But I'm saying I have compassion because it's so wild that if they did somehow find out, yeah, what are they supposed to do? She's put them in an impossible position, no matter what.
yeah,
But that's interesting that it was there was the implication that Sean was like clueless about what was going on. Um, yeah. I mean, again, it just felt to me that in those early interviews with Lauren that were in there, when she was like, "Of course I still want a relationship with my mom." Like, yeah, like absolutely I do.
right.
On one hand, I'm like, I get that. Absolutely. Kids, they were biologically predisposed to want a relationship with our, I get that. I've also been a 14-year-old girl.
Sure.
And it is, I think, big of her. If that is her honest truth, that she's like, oh, I still really want to have a relationship with my mom. It's either that it's like she's really compassionate or she's severely traumatized
Oh, sure.
or it's been a lifetime of this shit in one way or another.
Oh,
Now,
I
they never
think,
got into that, right?
right. I think 100% that's the case. And I
Yeah.
base that solely on that one text thread her mother sent her when they were at the volleyball game. And she was like, move. What are you doing? Listen to me. Like, I feel like it's that at home, but just without the text messaging. I'll bet it's that constantly.
Yeah. 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 It just feels to me again like it's like she to me was exhibiting signs of like I think that this abuse goes deeper. Like it just felt to me like it's
Right.
like yeah. And that's by the way heartbreaking. Like I'm not suggesting
Mm,
in any way she didn't react normally. There's no normal. I'm not suggesting that it's like she should have done it. No, I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is I just think that when you look at that behavior, to me, it was heartbreaking. Her saying I still want a relationship with my mom, I was like, what is she done in your head, man?
right.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like teenage girls, we go through some times where our
Sure.
hormones are raging and I think it's quite common that a lot of teenage girls have troubling relationships with their parents, especially their mothers. So for her to be like, "No, I really still want this. I love her if she's my mother." Of course, I'm like, I just feel like there's some deep programming going on there. In one
Oh,
way
I
or
could see
another.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did think it was interesting that then when there was the more recent interview with her at the end that she was kind of like, I don't know, I'm still worried. I don't know that I'll be able to trust her or whatever. And it feels like it because there's maybe been some distance that maybe she's been able to unpack. And I just really hope that that gal that they've got her in some counseling, some therapy. I don't know. I don't feel like they really alluded
Yeah,
to it.
they did not. No.
I really hope for her. I hope for all of the people involved. Because by the way, those other teenage girls that were getting this blamed on them. Now, don't get me wrong. Apparently, some level of bullies for a couple of them or whatever, but like that's still super fucked up. Like that's traumatizing. You're a
Yeah.
teenage girl and these adults are accusing you of something that you absolutely didn't do and people aren't believing you and the police are getting involved and like that's super traumatizing. Like I just think for this entire town needs therapy at this point. Like
Oh, yeah.
and I hear you that like Owen being angry at Lauren feels like it could potentially be misplaced. My question is, what does he know? Because he was
Oh,
around for 2 years, right? Dating her.
sure.
And I'm not suggesting that he knew it was Kendra at all. I'm saying, what has he witnessed in terms of that family's dynamic?
Oh,
What has he been a
sure.
part of that he's maybe not saying? Is there this other layer to things? Like, is his anger at Lauren potentially being about dynamic and things that happened that we are just not privy to?
Oh, it's more than possible.
Because it feels again like we've only seen the top of the iceberg. Like I
Oh,
think
yeah.
what's gone on in that family, I'm like, I think there's a whole chasm of dynamic and behavior and toxicity that's existed. Because also, by the way, if the dad really was that checked out, that's messed up too. If it was like, we're not telling your dad about your 2 years of being severely harassed,
Yeah.
what's that about? Why are you keeping that a secret from dad?
Yeah. That's a great point.
If like in the world where Kendra was still pretending that it wasn't her, right? Like
Right.
you're not telling your husband any of it? That's bizarre. Like again, what is that dynamic?
Yeah.
And I did listen, I agree with you that I thought that it was good that he was like, you made a poor decision, and if you stay here, I'm going to make a poor decision, and we have to be more concerned about Lauren. I
Yeah.
thought that was great. I also was like, are you saying you would kill her if she was here?
Oh, I assumed it meant he was gonna get physical for sure,
Physical. I
is what
interpreted
I
it that way
assumed.
too.
Yeah.
Interpreted it that way too. So then, of course, I just go, has that happened before? What else is going on in that house?
Interesting. Oh, yeah, there has to be something that had been going on for years.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Uh,
then this brings me to one of my biggest questions. Why did she agree to do this? I know that
mm,
she had claimed it was because not everybody knows my true story. I want a chance to tell my story. Okay. Well, the way she tells her story is basically saying she has unresolved childhood trauma, and that's it. Right? Like to me, it was like,
yeah.
and I'm not negating that kind of trauma by any stretch. I'm just saying that it was like, so it just feels to me like, again, this is just another symptom of her like deep need for attention.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like this is another, she likes that people are talking about her. She likes that this is happening. Like I think that she's getting something out of, she has to be getting something out of it. Otherwise, why would she be doing it? I don't think they're paying that much money. I have no idea how much they would have paid them, right? But
Sure.
like I just feel like again, it's like this has to be doing something for her that she enjoys. And
Mm,
if we're, I haven't even begun to speculate about which personality disorder I think she has or doesn't have, but if we're in that world, these traits make sense, right? That it's somebody who like would be willing to look bad potentially if it meant that she'd be getting a lot of attention.
right. I mean
Because
that
not a lot of people in this position to me, I don't feel like a lot of people who have been charged with that kind of crime, again, essentially like a child sex crime, like it's rare for those perpetrators to allow themselves to be filmed and talk about it unless they're like they've really got something going on up in that head.
mm, I mean, the director made a comment that it was like she went back and forth about whether she wanted to be involved in the documentary or not, and then obviously in the end said yes. But yeah, it's like, was it about getting the money? Did she also like claim to her parole officer, like, look, this is me getting a job? Like, look, I
Interesting.
got paid for that, whatever. Um, but I'm also like, to your point, does she really think just being like, I have unresolved trauma, like, does she think that's enough that we'll go, oh, okay, and we'll let it go?
Right, because it was also one of those things where like there was a moment in one of the interviews where she was like one of the texts was like flat ass, like very specific things about Lauren's body.
Right?
And then the director or whatever, whoever was asking the questions was like, were you just projecting on things that you felt negative about yourself? And then she's like, oh, maybe, yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah. And I was like, were you?
Oh, that felt like they gave her something that she was like, oh, there we go. Yeah, that's a good reason.
Right. And I'm like, this woman hasn't done any work. This woman hasn't gone to any therapy. Or if she has, it's just not working because again, it was
Mm.
like you're just glomming on to any sort of excuse at that point. Like it doesn't feel to me like, yeah, it doesn't feel to me like there's any sort of actual self-awareness.
Oh, no.
It was just this like loose yes and of, oh yeah, maybe I was projecting things that I don't like about myself onto her. Then it was like, well, when I was 17, I was assaulted. And then it was like, well, I was stressed and it got out of hand. Like all of these things, like there's no
Mhm.
real ownership. I don't feel like there's any real remorse, any real sort of like somebody being like, I was deeply mentally ill and then I got help and now I'm seeing like I was, here are all the,
Sure.
um, and also the last thing I have to comment on was her whole thing about like, we all break the law. I just got caught.
Hmm.
Lady Jane. This is
Hmm.
not like I didn't come to a full stop at a stop sign. Those are the
Yep.
laws that we all tend to break, you
Sure.
know, and sometimes we get caught and most of the time we don't. The suggestion that she would try to minimize this whole situation by suggesting that this is of that same level
Yeah.
speaks to, again, her being super manipulative, her trying to downplay, her not taking full ownership for just how bad this is,
Yeah.
and also her own, I don't know, like, I wouldn't even call it like her own enjoyment of her own dysfunction because again, I just feel like I'm fascinated by her. I'm fascinated by all of her choices. I'm fascinated by all of her lame excuses that are pathetic and make no sense. And yeah, I agree. I really my biggest hope throughout all of this is that everybody gets help. Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I, oh, yeah. I want them all in therapy.
Yeah. Like a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of hope that the kids were put into therapy when like during.
I
Like
hope so
I
too.
hope that was a moment, but I have a feeling it didn't happen. And Kendra claimed she's done counseling since, but I'm like, I don't know that you have.
Well, and it also is like what kind of counseling with what kind of professional. Because, again, there's somebody who has the capability to tell her their own daughter to kill themselves. That's what I would say. That's not like necessarily like consulting with like a light counselor. You know what I mean? That's not
Yeah.
necessarily light counseling. Like
Hmm.
that's a much bigger thing to unpack. And I think the bigger problem to me is that she's not going, I'm horrified that I said these things. What could have
Yeah.
possibly possessed me? My God, I need help. I need medication. Please, like I need to work out like what it like there was just no sort of she just felt to me she just felt blasé about it.
Oh, she was definitely like, we all do stuff that's wrong.
Yeah,
We
and it felt
all
like it
break
was
the
like we
law.
all make mistakes, like it just got out of hand, and it's like you picked up that phone every day and started sending incessant messages every day to your child and another child. And then when that ended, you just pivoted and kept going.
Yeah.
It's wild. And listen, as somebody who is a massive fan, of course, of the movie and series Catfish, I'm always fascinated to
Mhm.
learn about the catfishes and why do they do what they do and how
Of
does it start
course.
and why does it go on and get to the level that it does. And what's interesting is, and listen, I understand these people are also being filmed, so they may not be feeling like they can share their actual deep
Sure.
secret truth. But oftentimes it's like people are like, I'm bored. I wanted attention. I wanted love, like those kinds of just like basic things. And then they just go with it. But the difference here is that it
Mm.
was not pretending to be somebody that you weren't, that's younger or prettier or a different gender or whatever. This was literally, I am only using this phone to abuse children.
Yeah.
If she had created some sort of like online character of like a 16-year-old, who's from two towns over, who saw Owen out somewhere, and like, I'm not defending that behavior, by the way, but like,
Of
I can wrap
course.
my head around it because it's like, oh, I wanted to become somebody else. I didn't want to be myself, all of those things.
Sure.
But again, she still would have lost me if that 16-year-old fake kid from two towns over started saying we like to suck and fuck or finger fuck, finger
Yeah.
suck, huck.
Suck finger
Gross.
fuck, I do believe. And that might be the ninth
Thank you.
or 10th time I've said it. I
Yeah, we
can't. I can't. I don't know why that one bugged me as much, but
because it's vile.
it shocked me more than anything else in that documentary. I was like, there's not a chance they just said what I think they just said.
It's vile.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, listen, Christy Oxborrow, this has been an absolute joy for me. Again, I've been so excited to just have someone to talk to about this whole thing, and I'm sure that over time there's probably going to be more details that come out. But I'm glad that we bumped it up. This was a real pleasure and treat.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy. I'm
Listen.
glad that I'm glad we ran for it.
Me too. And we hope you enjoyed this also, dear listeners. If you haven't already, give us a follow on the socials on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at True Crime and Cocktails, on Twitter at Not Detectives. If you'd like some bonus content, go over to patreon.com/True Crime and Cocktails to learn more about our bonus subscription-based service over there. And of course, the only place for official True Crime and Cocktails merch is, of course, truecrewmerch.com. So check that out as well if you're interested. And listen, if you want to come see me play some rock music on the road, go to laurenash.band, get your tickets and your VIP experience add-ons to my upcoming tour. Would love to see you there. Christy, do you want to tell the people about next week's episode?
On the next True Crime and Cocktails, Birgit Meyer.
Don't know anything about this one and cannot wait to learn more next week from my best gal. Christy, do you want to say goodnight to the people?
I was really torn. I thought I knew the one I'm going to go. I'm throwing it out of left field. Good night, Mother Nature.
Good night, Devon Sawa.
That was what I was going to do.